Hello guys, welcome to yet another wonderful session of learning with Prepclass. My name is Tutor Olalekon Israel, your Prepclass English tutor, and I am super excited to have you join me in today's session of learning. Now in today's session, we will be answering questions 46 to question 50 from the Jamb English 2012 past question. Remember, the purpose of this session is to help you prepare for your forthcoming Jamb examination. So, without wasting much time, take a moment to subscribe to this channel, turn on the post notifications so you can be notified whenever we upload any new content. Alright, let's begin. Now, in each of the following questions, 36 to 50, in this video we will be answering questions 46 to 50 because in previous videos we have answered questions 36 to 45. So in each of the following questions 46 to 50, choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or phrase in italics. Choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or phrase in italics. Alright, let's begin. Question 46. The economists concluded that several factors have been adduced to explain the fall in the birth rate. The economists concluded that several factors have been adduced to explain the fall in the birth rate. The word in italics here is adduced. So which of these options is the opposite in meaning to adduced? Option A, affirmed. Option B, diffused. Option C, mentioned. Option D, refuted. Adduced means to bring forward in argument or as evidence. So the economists concluded that several factors have been adduced, have been brought forward to explain the fall in the birth rate. Adduced means to bring forward in argument or as evidence, cite as pertinent or conclusive. To adduce reasons in support of a constitutional amendment. Now, the economists concluded that several factors have been brought forward, have been stated, have been given to explain the fall in the birth rate. Option A, affirmed. Affirmed means to state emphatically or publicly. Option B, diffused. Diffused means to spread out, to move freely throughout a large area, to exist or be known throughout an area. Mentioned. Mentioned means to refer to something briefly and without going into detail. The opposite in meaning to adduce is refuted. When you refute, you prove a statement to be wrong or false, to disprove. So, instead of saying the economists concluded that several factors have been adduced to explain the fall in the birth rate, the opposite would be the economists concluded that several factors have been refuted to explain the fall in the birth rate. Several factors have been disproved. Saying, okay, lack of employment, it has been refuted, it has not been adduced. So the answer to this question is refuted. The opposite in meaning to adduced is refuted, to disprove. Adduce means to help, to use, to conclude a claim. Alright, moving on, question 47. Question 47. The presidential system is an antidote to some political ailments. The presidential system is an antidote to some political ailments. The word in italics says antidote. Remember, we have to select the option opposite in meaning to the word in italics. Option A, an answer. Option B, a reply. Option C, an inquiry. Option D, an obstacle. Which of these options is the opposite in meaning to antidote? What is the meaning of antidote? Now, an antidote is something that counteracts an unpleasant feeling or situation. Something that counteracts an unpleasant feeling or situation. For example, giving an antidote for a poison. It counteracts the effect of the poison. Now, option A, answer. An answer is a thing that is said, written or done as a reaction to a question. A thing that is said, written or done as a reaction to a question, statement or situation. It is a solution to a problem or dilemma. Option B, reply. A reply is an answer. It means to say something in response to something that someone has said. Option C, inquiry. This is an act of asking a question, trying to get information. opposite meaning to antidote is obstacle. An antidote helps to stop the spread of a bad thing. An obstacle, this refers to a thing that blocks one's way or prevents or hinders progress. Now, the presidential system is an antidote to some political ailments. Let's say like there are some political ailments like corruption, thuggery, and so on. The presidential system is an antidote. It helps to cure those ailments. But when we say it is an obstacle, it blocks, it serves as an hindrance to progress. The presidential system is serving as an obstacle. It is not allowing political progress. That is the opposite of antidote. Antidote helps to clear some bad things. The presidential system is an antidote to some political ailments. Ailments like corruption, bribery, thuggery, and so on. The presidential system helps to cure those ailments. But an obstacle is something that blocks progress. So instead of the presidential system to be an agent for political progress, the presidential system is an obstacle. It is hindering political progress. It is not an antidote any longer. This is the opposite meaning to antidote. Obstacle, it is blocking political progress. Antidote helps to make political wellness. It helps to bring about political wellness. So the opposite meaning to antidote is option D, an obstacle. Moving on, question 48. Ola thought that her father was very callous. The opposite in meaning to callous is what we are to select from the options. Option A, callous. Option B, compassionate. Option C, wicked. Option D, cheerful. Now, callous. A callous person is insensitive or emotionally hardened, to be cruel and unkind. Ola thought her father was very callous, very wicked, very unkind. Callous. This means to be bad, full of danger or uncertainty, precarious, something that is full of danger. Now, the opposite meaning to callous is compassionate. When you are callous, you are insensitive or emotionally hardened. You are cruel and unkind. But when you are compassionate, it means what? You are sympathetic. You are understanding, concerned, feeling or showing sympathy and concern for others. It is not wicked. This means to be evil or morally wrong. It is not cheerful. This refers to being happy and positive. The opposite meaning to callous, which means to be insensitive or emotionally hardened, is compassionate, which means to be sympathetic, understanding, and concerned. So the answer to this question is option B, compassionate. Moving on, question 49. Remember, we have to select the option opposite meaning to the word in italics. Question 49 reads, he was very much respected, though he had no temporal power. He was very much respected, though he had no temporal power. The word in italics here is temporal. So which option is the opposite meaning to temporal? Option A, spiritual. Option B, mundane. Option C, permanent. Option D, ephemeral. Now, temporal means to be secular, something that is not spiritual, to be worldly. Relating to worldly as opposed to spiritual affairs, to be secular. Now, the opposite meaning to temporal is spiritual. If you're not secular, you're spiritual. Spiritual means relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. Remember, temporal means to be secular, not spiritual. So the opposite meaning to temporal is spiritual. It is not mundane. Mundane means to be of this earthly world rather than a heavenly or spiritual one. This can serve as a synonym for temporal. It is not permanent. Permanent means to be lasting. Lasting or intended to last or remain unchanged indefinitely. The opposite meaning to permanent is temporary, not temporal. It is not ephemeral. Ephemeral means lasting for a very short time. So the opposite meaning to temporal is spiritual. Remember, temporal means to be secular, not spiritual. Spiritual means relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. So the answer to this question is option A, spiritual. Moving on, question 50. Remember, we had to select the option opposite meaning to the word or phrase in italics. Question 50 reads, the way the workshop was organized was rather hit and miss. The word in italics or the phrase in italics here is hit and miss. So which of the following options is The opposite in meaning to hit and miss. Option A, systematic. Option B, hasty. Option C, slow. Option D, funny. Now, hit and miss, if something is hit and miss or hit or miss, it is something successful and sometimes not because of being planned or organized well. Something successful not because of being planned or organized well. So it's more like a trial and error method. The way the workshop was organized was rather hit and miss. Sometimes it is successful, sometimes it is not successful. It is more like a trial and error procedure. So the opposite in meaning to hit and miss is systematic. When something is systematic, it is orderly, to be structured, done or acting according to a fixed plan or system. Not trial and error here now, not hit and miss. Not trial and error now, but done or acting according to a fixed plan or system. If it is hit and miss, it is not done in a systematic way. It is just done with the hope that it is successful. But most times it is not successful because it was not structured. The opposite in meaning to hit and miss is not hasty. Hasty means to be done with excessive speed or urgency, to be done hurriedly. It is not slow. Slow means moving or operating or designed to do so only at a low speed, not quick or fast. It is not funny. Funny means to be humorous, causing laughter or amusement. The opposite in meaning to hit and miss is systematic. The way the workshop was organized was rather hit and miss. It is sometimes successful and sometimes not because of not being planned or organized well. So it might be successful and sometimes it might not be successful because of poor organization. But when something is systematic, it means to be done orderly, to be structured, done or acting according to a fixed plan or system. So the answer to this question is option A, systematic. Alright, and with that we've come to the end of this wonderful session. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel. If you enjoyed this video, click on the like button. Do not forget to drop your questions in the comment section. Also share this content with your friends and loved ones. You can as well check us out on WhatsApp. Check for the link to our WhatsApp group in the description of this video. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.